You are listening to Hilary Topper on Air.
Hello and welcome to Hilary Topper on Air. I'm your host, Hilary Topper, and I'm so glad you're with us today. We often feature guests who have found a fascinating way to blend their personal passions with their professional lives. And today's guest is a perfect example of that. She's an accomplished runner, but she also has a demanding day job that, as it turns out, has some incredible and useful overlaps with the running world. I'm excited to introduce Jacqueline Seltzer. By day, Jacqueline is a corporate meeting planner, mastering the logistics of major events. But in her personal time, she's a dedicated runner who has taken on some of the world's most famous runs. Today, we're going to talk about her running journey and her career. We'll also dive into how she brilliantly combined her professional skills with her passion for running, helping fellow runners navigate the often stressful process of finding hotels for major events like the New York City Marathon and the Boston Marathon. So let's get this conversation started. Jacqueline, a very warm welcome to the show. It's fantastic to have you with us.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice to be here. Not my first time. I mean, first time being interviewed, but not first time listener.
Okay. So you lead a fascinating dual life as a runner and a corporate meeting planner. Let's start with running. When did you first get into running and what do you love most about it?
I got into running like a lot of people do nowadays to lose weight and to be fit and to look like the models or like the dancers that you see on Broadway shows. And after the age of 20, you have to do something to uh, uh, work your body so that you can have that look that you think about and dream about. And that was my purpose of starting to run. So, one of my early days in running was that my husband was a track runner in college and high school, and he was skinny as a string bean. And so one of our first dates was actually my birthday, 1972, when the New York City Marathon was happening. And these were sort of like old fashioned days for runners. Women runners were told, demanded by the AAU, Amateur Athletic Union, to start the race 10 minutes before the men. Now, at that time, they were thinking, oh, women are too fragile, women need the head start. It's not like it is now where they have elite starts. No, it was a lot different. So there were 6 women in the marathon who sat down at the start line. This is a famous The Six Who Sat. It's televised, it's revisited every year for the marathon, and there are some famous women who were in that on that line, Catherine Switzer, Nina Cusick, to name 2 of them. And so I was with my husband, and I was used to protest. So, being a college student, I sat down too in the second row. So my picture is in that famous Six Who Sat times whenever they're showing their retrospective. I am in the second row, and I pointed out to people I'm wearing my husband's college shirt, Oberlin College. The men are seen standing behind the women, and part of my husband's a figure is shown in that picture as well. So I'm in that picture. I really wasn't running then, but I did decide, okay, I'll do some of it. I want to get skinny. But this is 1972, and that was I did the bottom loop, was the 2 mile loop, and then they went on to run 6 mile loops. I did the bottom loop. That was it for me. And I didn't really pick up running again until the late 70s, the Bloomingdale Perrier race in 1979. And that was one of the first races in Central Park where they had, full-scale 10-kilometer races. This one, because Bloomingdale was a sponsor, started at Bloomingdale's and ended in Central Park Tavern on the Green. And so I remember that, and they served Perrier in the glass bottles, and so that's sort of a throwback. So that sort of got me started, but I really wasn't a daily runner. I did it because it was a happening. And then I decided that, the only way to do this is to be consistent. So somewhere around 1980 and 1981 was when I said, okay, I'm going to make this a daily or 2 or 3 times a week routine. So my first marathon was actually the Long Island Marathon 1981.
Wow.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So it was, I forget, was it the Newsday? I can't remember, but this was when a lot of the course was on Wantora Parkway, and it started at 8 o'clock in the morning, no shade on the trees. I wore the wrong sunscreen, cheap sunscreen that started peeling after a while. I mean, I'll never do that again. And lesson learned. And plus, I wasn't trained very well. I did 120-mile run. I thought that would help me. No, so you learn from just like people with their first bad experiences. You learn from that, and so
Absolutely.
it
So
it
let me
was
ask you,
yeah.
what was your most memorable race?
Most memorable. That's hard to describe because I've run in Paris, I've run in Montreal, I've done races in different states. So, Maui, that was a nice one because it combined a vacation with running. Most memorable, I guess I can go back to Sarit Chenoy 1990. And that was when it was around the World's Fairgrounds, just 26 loops. But I turned out to be the female winner. And at the beginning, I saw these other women, and it wasn't too crowded a field. Maybe it was about 50 runners total. And there was this one woman ahead of me, and she was just doing it as a training one, so she dropped out after 5 miles or 10 miles or something. Then there was somebody else who I saw, maybe I was 16 or 17 miles in, and she dropped out for some reason. So I realized, hey, I'm in first place. And so it was 1990, and I remember because my husband says, oh, I won the first New York City Marathon of the 1990 decade, because this is January 27th. Sarit Chenoy had a pattern then of having a marathon in Flushing Meadow Park, Corona Park, every 27th of the month.
Wow.
And
That
that year it happened to be January 27th, happened to be on a Saturday. So, I didn't miss any work for that.
that's awesome.
So that was fun. It was fun to be a female winner. I have my I got my time laminated somewhere, but I've run 46 marathons. So my most memorable race, all of them were satisfying to me.
Absolutely. So let me ask you, let's switch gears for a minute and talk about your corporate meeting planner. Like, what do you actually do? Can you give us a little peek into that world?
Yeah, so when I came back from maternity leave, I was with a publishing company, and there was a vacancy for someone to handle conventions. And I always liked going to meetings. In a previous job, I went to seminars that the company gave. So I always liked the meetings. I always liked the interaction with people. So they did put me into the spot of conventions, and so I worked with academic conventions for many years. That was with a high school publisher. Then I went on to a college publisher, and that was where the bulk of my career was, 31 years, working basically with the same conventions, 1985 and still continuing through 2016, same conventions, American Psychological Association, American Chemical Society, American Sociological Society, Society for Neuroscience, National Association of Biology Teachers, National Council of Teachers of Math. So it's basically the same associations because they were academically motivated. And so I was the conventions manager, and that meant handling a lot of details and everything. And I did do corporate contracts, not only the exhibit space, but when the company had focus groups or when there was product launches or other things like that, I was basically the one in charge of all that. So when the company consolidated positions in 2016, I went on my own to use my hotel contacts and the experience I had to negotiate the best possible rates for runners, ask for the perks that people don't often think of when they're doing group contracts, and just make it available for runners. I was appalled when I heard, this is like back in the early 2000s, people are paying $400 a night for a hotel room. I mean, even now it's sort of, I find that, you're paying enough for the marathon, you're traveling there, you're on your own. If you're not an elite runner, you're not going to get any expenses paid. You're not going to get your shoes paid for. There's a lot of expenses into. So I try to keep the expenses as low as possible for the runner. And because I do this more to get the credit for my credentials and to participate in webinars and things like that for the industry, I am able to donate 65% of what I get for hotel commissions to nonprofits.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
So it's an enjoyable opportunity for me, and that's what I'm doing now.
You think that the skills that you've picked up as a meeting planner, with the logistics and the organization and all that, do you feel like that's helped you with the marathon training and racing?
Yeah, there's a discipline in both areas. You have to be organized, you have to have a plan, you have to have a backup plan. There's always a plan B. So, yeah, I do see a lot of parallels to the detail-oriented work of a convention planner, meeting planner, and racing. You always have to have a plan. You have to get there. You have to time yourself. You have to you always have to have, allow for backups. If there's extra traffic, you have to allow for that. You have to allow yourself to prepare to get yourself ready for the race. It's like for a meeting. If a meeting begins at 9 o'clock and you're the organizer, you're late if you're there at 8 o'clock because there's always things to be done. There's always, you can't anticipate everything, and you just have to be cool, calm, and collected at the start line and when the meeting begins.
So let's just talk a little bit about like the marathon, like New York City and Boston, right? Like I remember when I wish I had known you back in the day when I ran the New York City Marathon because that was the most stressful time trying to figure out where I'm going to stay the night before the marathon. Could you talk a little bit about, some of the challenges and, why it's so difficult to book a hotel for those events? And why do they like up the prices of those events?
Well, in the meeting industry, it's called compression. When they have limited number of rooms and they know that they are going to have, more than enough people to fill the rooms, it's something that happens in all industries. I tried to fight it as an exhibitor because we would have 35,000 person conventions, but my company would only send 5 or 6 people. But because the, city is called a citywide, because it was a citywide, hotels saw the need to raise the prices. And so that is not that's not just in the running community. It's with any industry that is going to be bringing in thousands of people to a city. And so, yeah, I get in touch with hotels and I tell them I'll take less of a commission. I want this to be, and I also make sure that the guest does not have to pay a deposit or down payment. They do have to give a credit card, but the credit card is not charged until the check-in date. And then you can also cancel 10 to 15 days in advance without penalty. So sometimes you are getting a higher rate than what you might see on Expedia, where you have to give a deposit. So, or even these larger travel agencies, they do have the clout to book 100 rooms at once because they had the name. But I don't have that, and I know that that's part of my competition. But I just have to narrow my world of hotels that I'm working with, the ones that are willing to work on my terms.
So the New York City Marathon people have already gotten in. There's still people getting in. Um, what are some of the key things that a runner should look for in a hotel for a race like New York City or Boston? Is it about the proximity to the start and finish line, or are there other factors?
Well, okay, for New York City, yeah, that's important for Boston, for most major marathons. And when you're reading a map, okay, we're 5/10 of a mile from the finish, or we're 8/10 of a mile from the finish, not the finish line. When it's a large group of people in a marathon, like more than 10,000, you want to know the exit path. You don't want to know the finish line, because in New York City, realistically, you're at Tavern on the Green, you finish at Tavern on the Green, but you're exiting the park at 81st Street. So, to say that you're 1 mile away from the finish, people think, okay, but no, and you're dead tired anyway. So you want to know realistically. That's one thing that I make clear in the information I provide. Maybe the other companies have caught up with that. I really haven't. I guess I should pay attention to what the other companies are doing with their hotel offers. But I made sure that I was telling people the honest truth. So that's one thing. If they want to stay near and there are people that want to stay near Times Square. I would personally not want to stay near Times Square because of all the noise and dirt. I mean, it's exciting to be near the Broadway plays, but New York City transportation is so easy. And even if you don't want to go on the subway, there's always the cabs and Ubers. And same with Boston. People want to stay near the finish line in Boston. That's a lot different. The price structure in Boston is a lot different than New York. Being near those hotels that are in Central Park South or, of course, Central Park West, those are expensive. And, I tell people it's very easy to take a subway afterwards, or, there's also another thing about these large marathons is family reunion areas. Try to find a place where a common landmark where you can meet up with people at the end, not the finish line. Don't say meet me at the finish line. You have to be realistic. If it's more than 10,000 people, you have to think, okay, you're finishing with probably 500 people next to you.
You're right. So let me ask you, so if somebody, gets into either one of these marathons or any other marathon, how do they work with you? Like, what would be the process?
Well, I'm a one person business essentially. So I do a lot of my promotion on Facebook. And there are people that know my name that recommend me. For Boston Marathon, if I didn't know the admin for that Facebook page, Boston Marathon 2026, I wouldn't be able to post, hey, I have hotel rooms. And so this person, David Scott, he's very prominent in the Boston racing community. He allows me to make posts, and I only do it occasionally, maybe at this time because of Boston coming up, maybe once every 2 weeks. But even before this month, it was maybe once every 2 months. So I didn't pepper the page with too many posts. And he does have a special accommodations tab for the listing. So it's me and somebody else that he just highly recommends. So that's where I get a lot of the Boston business, and a lot of it is word of mouth. At this time, I've been doing it for 10 years. So people know me. I don't have an advertising budget. Charities come to me, and so they want more than, or teams come to me. So I do it. It's basically through a lot of positive word of mouth.
Absolutely.
I don't stretch a tooth. I don't emphasize. I tell people the downside of what's going on sometimes. I'm saying there's construction going outside. You want to have a room in the back of the. I mean, I just know these hotels, and I don't try to make my reach too much. I'm not doing the Charlotte Marathon or the Houston Marathon. I'm just narrowing my focus, and I give people TLC, tender loving care.
So, how do you balance your demanding career with your running? How do you do it? Like, do you do it in the morning? Do you do it at night?
Well, I have an unwritten rule that even with other appointments I might have, whether it's at the bank or a doctor, I try to make them afternoon. So I have the mornings to myself, and I'm an early morning riser. So maybe I'll get up at 5, check emails just in case something I have to address is going on. And then I'll basically do exercise, and not just running, but swimming, Pilates, whatever it is. I do that before noon. And then from noon to 11 p.m., I might, not quite, but usually I turn off my computer. I say, okay, I'm done. I basically say it's 7 or 8. Yeah, I give myself a break for lunch and dinner, but I mean, I basically say, and unless there's something coming up that I have to address right away, like I did last night, but usually I just turning off my computer at 8 o'clock.
So, what's your next big race?
My next big race will be the NYPD versus FDNY 5 miler race in Central Park.
Nice.
That will be on March 7th. Yeah, March 7th in Central Park. And one of the things I've done in the past, I've been a volunteer for the NYPD Running Club. I've helped them get hotel rooms for their group of runners. Most of them come in on their own or they stay with friends. So, but I have helped out the NYPD Running Club when they need hotel rooms.
Very nice, really. And for any runner listening who's stressing out about race logistics, what is the one piece of advice you would want them to take away from this conversation?
I would say what I bring to work also: plan, plan, and plan. Think about logically, okay, if you're doing a 5 mile race next month, well, are you putting in the 2 to 3 miles a few times a week? If you're not, you're going to have to rethink whether you're going to run the full distance. You can always do run and walk. You could always break it up, but you have to be physically fit to cover the distance on your feet.
Absolutely.
So it's plan, 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 and be realistic.
And how could somebody get in touch with you to book a hotel for either one of these marathons or for anything else for that matter?
Yeah, okay. I do group meetings as well. I'm working with a few nonprofits where they're having small. I basically, because I'm a one-person business, it would be between 25 and 75 people for meetings that are educational in nature or training in nature. So I work with a few nonprofits in that regard. My email address is JMS, the initials for John Michael Sam, JMS411, as in information from the old days, at outlook.com. That's JMS411 at outlook.com. And I have a LinkedIn profile, I have a Facebook profile. You can see my recommendations. I mean, I actively search for business, but it's not as if I have to have a campaign every week or every month.
All right. Well, thank you very, very much for sharing your expertise with us. And we really appreciate your time today.
Okay, and it's all about details, whether it's my work or my passion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jackie.
Okay.
This show was produced by Hilary Topper and sponsored by the Russo Law Group, Long Island's signature elder law, estate planning, and special needs law firm. For more information, visit vjrussolaw.com and PlayTry, your multi-sport specialist for all your triathlon needs. They have so many opportunities, including franchising. If you love the sport of triathlon, check out playtry.com and learn more about opportunities, or if you want to shop there, check them out. They've got great prices and they've got amazing customer service.